Hello, everybody, and welcome to From the Mezzanine, the Broadway podcast for the Broadway fans. I'm your host, Lindsey Stone. What is up, everybody? It has been a whirlwind. We are fully into the season of Broadway, the spring season. There's so much happening, so many openings and events, and I've got to catch all up on some things. I have a very exciting weekend ahead of me when I am recording this. Tonight, I am seeing Smash. Let me be your star. Finally, I cannot wait to see it. It's got my queen, Robin Herder, in it. It's gonna be a moment. I'm so excited, going with my dear friend Josh, who I desperately need to have on the podcast again. Josh, when are you coming on? We miss you. I miss you. But I'm so excited to see Smash. It is highly anticipated. Going into it, I'm not sure how I'm going to like it. Like there's a difference between highly anticipated and, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna love it. You know what I mean? I have so much intrigue and mystery around it, and I was such a fan of the TV show back in the day, and I have a creeping suspicion that my favorite song from Smash is not in the musical because I haven't heard anybody talk about it, and I feel like they would be publicizing it on their Instagram channels if it were, and that song is Broadway, Here I Come, do, 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 do. You know what I really want to do? If I get the chance, I want to ask Megan Hilty, I want to ask Jeremy Jordan, like how they, like, what their opinion is, not on like Smash about like how it is, but like about Smash being turned into a musical, because they were such a huge part of the TV show. Leslie Odom Jr. was in it. So many Broadway people were in it that are not in the musical, which is really surprising to me. The only one who is in the Smash TV show and is now on the stage is Krista Rodriguez, I believe. I don't think there's anybody else. There's got to be a couple because it was just so Broadway coded, like so many actors from Broadway were in the show. But from my knowledge, I think only Krista Rodriguez is from the TV show. And honestly, her part in the TV show, did not like her character. She came in towards the end. She was not in the first season. And I just remember being like, who is this girlie and why is she here? But I'm holding space. I'm staying open-minded. I love Robin Herder because she originated the role of Nini in Moulin Rouge on Broadway. So she's one of my queens, and I'm excited to see her shine. I've just heard a mixed bag of things. So I'm going in, I'm very excited, and I will report back to you guys next week on my thoughts. I am also seeing Take the Lead at Paper Mill Playhouse, their opening night. This is starring Adrienne Bailon and Tam Mutu. Of course, we love Adrienne Bailon from Cheetah Theatre, Friends for Life. She was a Cheetah sister, a Cheetah girl. And I'm thinking maybe because it's the opening night, there might be some other Cheetah sisters there. If I see Raven Simone, I will die. But Adrienne Bailon, she was, I feel, the most popular Cheetah girl. She was so beautiful, so talented. And I know the choreography is going to be next level, and that is what I'm so excited for. Anyways, I cannot wait. Can't wait to see Tam Mutu back on a stage because I loved him as the Duke de Monroth. He was so good. So I cannot wait for that. And then on Monday, the Broadway Besties over on the Patreon, shout out. You can become a Broadway Bestie for $5.99 a month, and you get the inside scoop, the details before it's announced on the podcast. And I do a post-show Meet Me at the Stage Door episode every single week. And they already know this is very exciting news that I'm about to share with all of you, that From the Mezzanine is headed to Miscast 25. By the time that this comes out, I will have already done it because it is on Monday. So at this point, it was Monday. And I'm going to be on the carpet, chit-chatting it up with the stars of the stage. Aaron Tveit, Jordan Fisher, Nick Jonas, Megan Hilty. Maybe I'll finally get to ask her about Smash. But I am so excited. I'm ready to get back into the red carpet rush. It was so fun last year. And now that I've done a whole season of it already, I feel much more prepared. Boy, oh boy, when I did my first red carpet, I was sick all day from the nerves. I was so nervous, but now it just feels like, okay, let's tackle it. Let's do it. It's going to be fun, you know? So I'm just feeling so much better, even though like the caliber of people that are going to be at Miscast 25, it is insane. But I'm overjoyed. It's honoring Cheryl Lee Ralph, and she's just such an icon, and I'm sure I'm going to get to talk to her. I've seen her in Abbott Elementary. I've, of course, loved her as Madame Morrible, so quite the honor to be participating in this very special night on Broadway. I just cannot wait. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait because next week I'll get to share all the memes and the clips with you guys, so that'll be next week on From the Mezzanine. So exciting. Lots coming up. And it's not going to stop. Like, we have miscast. We have so many shows opening that I'm seeing. Coming up next week, I'm seeing The Last 5 Years again, which I need to see it again. I really need. The first time I just was like, what is this? How's it going to be? It was a lot like, I feel like there's another show that I went into it and I was like, my expectations are through the freaking roof. And it's like, you have I was going to say Gypsy, but I don't think that's it. I don't think I had high expectations. You know, maybe it was Gypsy because it was such a huge deal. Everybody made it into this huge thing that Audra McDonald was going to be in Gypsy. And I really didn't understand why at first, but then whenever I saw it, I was kind of like more so judging it the first time rather than immersing myself in the show. I was like, am I going to like this? How am I going to feel? And that was very similarly to The Last 5 Years. I was like, this is such a classic work that I'm obsessed with. And I've been obsessed with for years. How am I going to feel when I see it on a stage? How are they going to do it? How are they going to change the lines? Da, 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 da. And like certain moments, like when they did change a line, I was like, oh wait, that was weird. Did I like that? Did I not? You know? And so it's going to be really nice to see it a second time and already know what to expect and get to appreciate it a bit more rather than like be so wary. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, seeing that. I have things every other day next week. Monday miscast, seeing Last 5 Years. Oh, I'm seeing Floyd Collins next weekend. I can't wait to see Floyd Collins. That is my most anticipated show of the season. Oh, I cannot wait. I'm really, really excited. But I'm forgetting some. Oh, Boop. I'm seeing Boop next weekend. So yeah, busy. So excited. But this past week, I got to see something that has been on my list for a very long time, and that is Allnighter, the play that is happening currently at MCC Theatre. This has been produced by Ben Platt, and so it's gotten a lot of traction for that reason, but also this cast is dynamite. We've got my queen from Sex Life of College Girls, Aaliyah Chanel Scott. It also has Catherine Gallagher, who is in Jagged Little Pill, and it has Julia Lester, who is in High School, the Musical, the series, and Into the Woods. And then it has two other women, Christine Frosteth and Havana Rose Liu. And the premise of the show was really intriguing to me because I knew it centered around these college students who were staying up all night. That's really all that I knew. I was like, why, when, where? I don't know. But let me tell you, the story is so relatable. If you have been to college, even if you haven't, and maybe have been a part of a girlfriend group, the themes are so relatable. And it's just like, Bryn put it really nicely. She said, in college, you're kind of just like thrown in and you make friends with whoever comes across your desk, right? You're like, oh, hi, you're my roommate. Yes, let's be friends. Oh, hi, you're sitting next to me in class. Yes, let's be friends. Meanwhile, you don't necessarily have a whole lot in common, but you get really close with those people. But intrinsically, you're very different. And I feel like this was a really good representation of that. This friend group that is so diverse, so different, so toxic. It really amplifies toxic girlhood. We all love happy girlhood, fun girlhood, silly girlhood. This amplifies toxic girlhood, which is just as relatable as all of the rest. Unfortunately, we've all had friends that are master manipulators. We've all had friends that are bad influences. And so but also that all happens in college, and it's still fun. You still like look at their friendships and you're like, oh my gosh, like, reminds me of my good friend. Like, everybody's so layered and deep that it's both relatable, but also like, thank God I don't have those problems. You know what I mean? So anyways, for that reason, I love the premise. They're staying up all night. It's the last week of college. So they're very nostalgic, very emotional, and they are tackling their final papers and final exams together all night, taking pills, Adderall to keep them going. It's a party. I loved it. I loved it. At first, I was a little apprehensive because when the show started, we had these two ladies on stage and they were having just, I feel like, a very surface level, stereotypical girly conversation. And I was like, this is written by a woman. Like, this woman knows how to write for women. You can always usually tell when like a show is written by a woman or a man, I feel. If like in the dialogue, if it's truthful, if it's real, if it's relatable. So at first I was a little worried because I was like, wait, this is sounding a little stereotypical. But once you get to know the characters more, it makes so much more sense. And once all of the characters came together in the study hall working together, I loved seeing all the different personalities. I loved the relationships between each of the ladies. It was so entertaining. And let me tell you, there's problems, as there are in every single play, every piece of entertainment. They introduce these different problems. I was so into it. Like it was almost like a mystery. You're like, who is doing these things? To give y'all like an idea, should I give you? Yeah, I'll give y'all like a little bit of an idea. One of the girls, her debit card gets stolen. One of the other girls, she feels like things are going missing in the house. And so these little issues compound into a huge problem by the end of it. And you're trying to figure out why this is happening. They're writing off, haha, it's a ghost, whatever. But the moment comes finally when shit hits the fan. And it's so gratifying because I knew what was going to happen the whole time. I was like, it's her. I know who's doing all of this. And whenever we found out that it was, I was like, yes. Oh my God, I was so happy. It was very gratifying. And then just to watch these girls manipulate each other. So shout out to the writer, Natalie Margolin, for what you did with Allnighter, because I absolutely loved it. My outstanding performance was certainly from Havana Rose Liu. I thought she was astonishing, just incredible, very authentic. Secondly, Julia Lester was fabulous, and we'll talk about her a bit later, but she did receive a nomination for a Lucille Lortel Award for her role in Allnighter. But all of the women were just outstanding. I loved this show. It totally exceeded my expectations. I went in thinking, I'm their target demo. I hope I relate to this. I hope I'm going to enjoy it. And I certainly did. So I could not recommend it enough. I also want to briefly just touch on, you guys, because I haven't gotten to talk about it with the Broadway besties here on the podcast. We did chat about it over on the Patreon last week, but I attended the launch party for Dead Outlaw 2 weeks ago. And then that same night, I went to the Outsiders recast or miscast. So good. Such a fun night. But first and foremost, Dead Outlaw, some of those songs are still stuck in my head. I am obsessed. I absolutely loved it. It was so awesome to get to attend their launch party. And I really think this is going to be a very valid contender for the Tonys. And I say that like apprehensively because I love Maybe Happy Ending and I want it to win so much. But I do feel like Dead Outlaw is going to stand a chance. And I'm happy for them as well because Andrew Durand, who we love from Shucked, is starring in the role of Dead Outlaw. And a lot of the songs, they're just awesome. It's very banjo, very slap your knee, country heavy. And I love that. I love that style. I think it works really well on a stage, especially in this period. It's just done really well. I would say The Outsiders very country forward, as is Shucked. There's a lot right now. I assume Floyd Collins is. I just have heard the Yodel Yodel Lady song. But I think that theme right now on Broadway is really cool, how there's so much country music on Broadway. I love it. So that was awesome. So fun. And then I went to the Outsiders miscast. Just a ball. I was blown away by how hilarious Emma Pittman is. She is a queen. While we're on the topic of the Outsiders, I just wanted to briefly touch on the craziness going on online right now with the Outsiders and some of the Outsiders fan base. From the Mezzanine, we have to talk about all of the gossip that's happening online, and geez Louise, there's a lot of the gossip happening online right now. So basically, to give you like a very brief idea of what's happening, is some of the very devoted, I don't know if devoted is even the right word, and I don't even want to call them fans because I don't know what kind of fans would talk about their fanhood like this. It's really ridiculous and disrespectful and just sick, plainly sick. So I don't want to refer to them as fans, but that is probably what they claim to be. These fans of the Outsiders, they've exposed themselves. There was a group chat where they were all talking about all kinds of things, from stalking the cast to using very derogatory terms when speaking about certain cast members. to just outright being disrespectful and gross. And I am not surprised that there's a sector of the internet and the fan base that is this extreme. I feel like in most fan bases, there is a very extreme sector, and The Outsiders has such a massive fan base that, of course, there's a few rotten eggs that are going to ruin it for a lot of people. And I think that this is an indication of where things are headed with The Outsiders. And I'm not surprised. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that there would be people who would take it too far, and take it very too far. They did. But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people stop stage dooring, don't feel safe to do so anymore. That makes sense, and that's their right. But yeah, it's just really sad and disheartening that people would talk about a show that they supposedly love in such a gross way. So anyways, all of those screenshots are leaked over on Reddit. That's where it's all going down, and now it's just seeped over onto TikTok. And I mean, there's been talk about this kind of thing for a very long time, that the Outsiders fan base has just gone too far. And I'm going to be honest, I think that's why I've distanced myself from the show quite a bit, because I don't want in any way, shape, or form to add to that, even though I don't believe that anything that I do would. And I know so many of From the Mezzanine's listeners are big Outsiders fans, and I love that. But y'all probably have noticed that I've kind of taken a step back from talking about it so much, because I just don't want to increase what's happening online and how the actors are feeling. And I feel like it's so fun to just like come on here and be like, like, I'm obsessed, I love them so much. But it's a whole nother thing to take it to the levels in which those fans did. And I'm sure that they never thought that it would be leaked online, but it's just completely disgusting to be talking about anything like that, anyone like that, especially performers who are literally, yes, it's their job, but they're going the extra mile because the fan base loves them, and they're doing the stage doors, and they're being responsive online and whatnot. But it's like, you can't take it for granted, and you can't take advantage of it either. Anyways, it's crazy. It's sad. And I'm ready for it to pass. I'm honestly like really ready for The Outsiders to just like, I want to fast forward 4 years where it's just like an amazing show that's doing so great on Broadway, and it still has its fan base, but people aren't as obsessive about it anymore. Like, I had my obsessive moment. I absolutely did. And I'm sure a lot of you did too. And that was so fun. Like, I loved that, because there's nothing quite like the feeling of finding a new show that, oh, it just like, it lights up your life, you know? There's nothing like that. But I think some people maybe take it too far without even really meaning to. Anyway, so I'm feeling for the cast, of course. They're the ones that I hope feel safe and secure the most after all of this. And it's just low-key crazy that this happened. And it may, like, also in the vein of like why I've kind of like taken a little bit of a step back from like talking about The Outsiders so much. Like, the idea of being an Outsiders fan is such a trope. And I don't want to be perceived as that. You know, it's like someone will be like, yeah, you love The Outsiders. And I'm like, I do love The Outsiders, but I also love everything else. Like, I feel like I am not just zeroed in on that one show. And I totally was. For like April to June, it was my whole personality. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I am not above that. But there comes a time to move on. And I feel like I'm not just an Outsiders fan. I'm a Broadway fan. I love it all. So anyways, I just wanted to like touch on it because that's what everybody's talking about. Like, we can't not address it. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't recommend going down the rabbit hole of like the Reddit thread and everything, even though I'm sure that you will. But it's just wild. It's wild that that's all out there. And I hope that the people who are involved have learned from this. And supposedly they're banned from the theater. I don't know how they're going to logistically enforce that, but apparently they are banned, which that's what you get. Sorry, not sorry about what I said. I'm just trying to have some fun. Don't worry, don't lose your head. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Anyways, that was a great transition, wasn't it? Okay, but I do want to just say at the recast, my outstanding performer, oh my God, obsessed, loved him. What is his name? John Patrick Williams. Is that his name? I don't think I've ever seen him actually perform in The Outsiders, but chef's kiss. He was so funny, so outgoing. I loved watching him. He was just hilarious. I was like, who is this? I love him. But Emma Pittman, you killed it. You ate with all of that. Yeah, okay, so that is my little recap. I cannot wait to get into Broadway grosses. And honestly, you guys, usually we just whiz past Broadway grosses real quick, but no, I want to sit here for a second and really marinate because there's so much. We haven't checked the Broadway grosses in 3 weeks on From the Mezzanine. So there's a lot to see. I feel so out of the loop. This is for the Broadway grosses ending on March 30th. Our number one show of the week. It is new. It is Good Night and Good Luck. Not surprised whatsoever. We have Othello at number 2 and Wicked is number 3. Okay, this is interesting. Where's Glengarry Glen Ross? That one has been doing really well as well. Hamilton is 4, Lion King is 5, and Glengarry Glen Ross is 6. Then we have Cabaret at 7. This would be accounting for, I believe, like half and half of Ali and Eva. I don't think it's officially when Eva had stepped into the role. So anyways, either way, there's a lot of turnover happening at Cabaret. So a lot of tickets being sold too. A lot of people would want to see Eva's first show and Orville Peck's first show, of course. And then see the last show of Adam Lambert and Ali. The Outsiders is 8. Wow, that is awesome. Beating out Gypsy at 9 and Aladdin is 10. Wow, very, very interesting week, you guys. I'm still shocked that there's so many plays so high up in the grosses. Well, I'm not shocked. Also, by the way, the reviews are out for Good Night and Good Luck, and they were pretty good. I was kind of surprised. I didn't think that they were going to be great, but they were definitely better than Othello, and they're going to continue to just gross oogles and boogles of money, honey, because that theater is giant, and their top ticket was $775. Othello's top ticket was $900. They need to reduce their dang prices. Let's talk about the newcomers, though. That's where I really am curious. So I want to see where like Redwood is, Buena Vista, Operation Mincemeat. I want to see how much they're grossing and how they are doing. So Floyd Collins isn't in the grosses yet, but Boop is. Boop had 7 performances and they are grossing just over $500,000. I've heard that this is a very touristy show, and with those numbers, that doesn't represent that. Their opening night would have just happened by the time you're listening to this episode, so that'll be really interesting to see. I cannot wait. Maybe Happy Ending is not doing super well. They had 96% capacity, but they are in the bottom of the grosses. Last 5 years is doing just barely better than Maybe Happy Ending. That's very surprising. The Hudson Theater is smaller than the Belasco. Or wait, no, I don't think it's smaller, but they had 1 less performance last week. So that explains it to an extent. But I don't think Nick Jonas is having the effect that everybody thought that he would, low-key. Operation Mincemeat is doing better than the last 5 years. I feel like that tells you everything that you need to know. 99% capacity. But so far, all of the shows that I've just spoken about after the top 10, they are all grossing under $1 million. Redwood is grossing above Operation Mincemeat. That's really good for them, but they had 89% capacity, so a lower capacity. But with that number in mind, they're grossing $856,000. I feel like they're good. I feel like they'll stay for a moment. That's enough momentum. Smash is doing better than all of these. That's amazing. Of course, they are still in previews, but doing pretty well. And then we have Buena Vista. Yeah, I'm surprised by Smash's grosses. That's awesome. Yeah, Buena Vista is doing great, barely under 1 million for the week and at 97% capacity. Dorian Gray is doing excellent. They grossed over $1 million. Wow, and over 100% capacity. Sunset Boulevard has an 82% capacity, very low for them, but they are grossing more than everything I've previously said. Yeah, Moulin Rouge is doing great. Death Becomes Her is doing great. This is good. This is good. Things are looking really, really good. So the only things that I would really be concerned about is Boop, but it's still in previews. Like, we're going to have to wait until next week, and then we'll make a final call there. Maybe Happy Ending is certainly going to last until after Tony's, but I think we might, depending on how that goes, we might just have a couple of more months. I just think they had higher expectations for the last 5 years because they made it a limited engagement. You would think people would have snatched up those tickets really, really quickly, but their average ticket price is $125, which sadly is relatively low in the grand scheme of things. It might not be low, but it more so average. It was very, very interesting and illuminating because I have just not been looking at this. I haven't had a pulse on how the new coming shows are doing. But once we get to Tony season, I think we're really going to have like a good idea of what our nominations will be. It's just so interesting because The Great Gatsby just celebrated their 1 year on Broadway, and they're doing insanely well. They grossed well over $1 million last week, 98% capacity. They are thriving, and they only received a nomination for costume design, and that's it. And they won, however. I just think if they would have opened earlier and maybe the critics and the general public would have seen how like well received it was, then I think potentially they would have gotten a lot more nominations. Actually, I really think that they would have. I just think nobody expected it to do as well as it did, and now it's just popping off. It's on fire. It's just like all of you critics who hated the show. Let's look back because I'm curious. What was the percentage? The Great Gatsby Broadway review roundup. I just remember being sick. I was like, these critics are so wrong, and now they're eating their words. Mwahahaha. This was on April 25th was their opening. Their percentage was 47% for their ratings. They didn't get a single good review. They're all mid or bad. OMG. Ha ha ha. I just feel good. It makes me feel like evil. I don't know. I don't have the energy. It just makes me very happy. Very happy. Sticking it to the man. Your reviews don't matter. Everybody loves this show because it is dynamite, fire, fun. We love it. And of course, we love our queen, Dariana Mullen. How can we not? Well, everybody, that's the Broadway grosses. It is time to head into our Broadway news. Shockingly, to my surprise, it has been so crazy, so much going on, but there's really not much news. I feel like month by month, the news circuit changes on Broadway. It's like in the summer, we had in the winter, we had so many cast announcements, and that was really exciting. But now it's like everything's opening. So it's kind of like everybody's testing the waters right now. There's just not a lot of new, exciting news coming out in this moment, but that always means that there's about to be a ton. But I do want to talk about the fact that Idina Menzel and Kristin Chenoweth reunited at Redwood this past week and sang For Good. And it was so unexpected and so beautiful and so funny. I implore you to watch the entire video because literally I understand Idina Menzel and I relate to her so much more now because she sang that song literally 8 times a week for a year and a half, right? Girlie could not remember the words. She couldn't even remember when she came in. She was like, what do I say? What do I say? It well may be. And then at one point, she's like, that was flat. For good. And she like redoes it. She's so relatable. Our relatable queen, our mother. And then Kristin Chenoweth, mama is on it. Like she was like giving Idina her cues. She was like, okay, both of us. Okay. And then she was like directing her. It was so cute. I love to see it. They're so real and authentic together. And they kissed at the end, which was so precious, cute, angel. Loved it. Sparks. I love them so much. They mean literally the entire world to me. And I just was reminded that even though people aren't on the performer list for miscast, anybody can be on that carpet. So there's a chance. Kristin Chenoweth is going to have to start doing more press for Queen of Versailles coming up. So there's a chance I will meet her on the carpet of miscast. There's also a chance I'll meet her at the upcoming carpets, but like, I don't know if I'm ready. Bryn was asking me, she's like, are you going to be okay if you get to talk to Aaron Tveit? I was like, yes, because I can't anticipate it. But like, Kristin Chenoweth's walking down that carpet. Ah, what do I say? What do I do? Do I look at her? Do I look down? Do I bow? Do I curtsy? What do I do? I don't know. Same for Idina Menzel. They are my queens. There's a chance, and I need to start mentally preparing myself right now. I also feel like, just getting off topic here for a moment, but I feel like the energy is going to be somewhat heavy because Gavin Creel was the king of miscast. His performance with Aaron Tveit when they did Take Me or Leave Me, amazing. I've seen, what's the other one he did with like a ton of guys? I need to go down a rabbit hole today and watch all of his performances, but he did so much for miscast. And I feel like the energy is going to be like very much so honoring him and his legacy. And so I think that is going to change the feeling on the carpet. So I'm just trying to, be aware of that. Like, I don't want to be too much like fangirly or like over the top. Like, I want to understand and respect that space. Just thinking about it, because yeah, Bryn was like, how are you going to be with Aaron? And I'm like, I think I'm going to be fine, honestly. Like, I can prepare myself and I know he's going to be there. And once you're on the carpet, girl, you're in business mode. You're like, okay, we gotta get the shot. I want to talk to them, yada, yada. Like, and when you expect to see these people, that's when you're able to keep your cool. When I see Aaron Tveit randomly on the street, or more recently, Jake Gyllenhaal, that's when I lose it because it's unexpected. But when I see them on a carpet, it's like, okay, you're supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here. Let's have a combo. Anyways, yes, I definitely think everybody needs to watch them singing For Good at Redwood because it just reminded you nobody's perfect, and accept them too. They are perfect, but they weren't trying to just be like, they weren't trying to put on this show for everybody. Like, they were so authentic. It was beautiful. I loved watching it. And Kristin Chenoweth loved Redwood, of course. I really loved Redwood. I really did. I'm really glad I got to see it. But now I'm like, okay, now they're going to do something else. Whenever Queen of Versailles opens at the St. James Theatre, they're going to also do something then. Probably, like, they can't sing Defying Gravity. Like, that's too crazy. Maybe they'll just sing For Good again. So good. But yeah, it was a really sweet video. Lovely surprise. That audience, I am jealous of you. I'm jealous that you got to experience that. And I just hope that there wasn't a single person in that audience that wasn't like that just went on a whim and like had no idea who they were, because that would break my heart. Anyways, it probably happened. But yeah, crazy moment. Other Broadway news, everybody. John Krasinski, Jim from The Office, literally everybody's favorite sitcom heartthrob. He is headed Off-Broadway. This is exciting. We have had so many Office people come on and off Broadway lately. We had, of course, Steve Carell in Uncle Vanya at the Lucille Lortel Theatre. And then we had Queenie, Steve Carell's wife, in the show. I can't remember her name, but she was in a play on Broadway. And then there was somebody else so recently. Oh, yes. Oh, I was like, there's something that's so specific, like Rainn Wilson and You're in Town. And now we have John Krasinski, who is going to be an Angry Alan off Broadway. So Angry Alan, I'm going to tell you what it's about. It's very intriguing and I'm excited. It is a dark comedy. So we get to see John Krasinski be comedic. I love that. And according to a Times Out article from 2019, quote, playwright Penelope Skinner's transferring Edinburgh Fringe hit Angry Alan is a monologue send-up of masculine entitlement and the shit show that is the meninist all-right incel movements. It concerns Roger, an American man who feels oppressed by feminism. There is the danger of being a bit on the nose, yet Skinner's script is not only extremely funny, but it also makes Roger unexpectedly likable, even as it condemns his views, quote. So that premise is super intriguing to me. I think this sounds like it's probably a one-man show, which, like, yeah, please, like, give me uninterrupted 90 minutes of John Krasinski. Thank you. That's what I need in my life. But I'm excited to see him through this lens. He's low-key being like Robert California slash like Steve Carell, like slash Michael Scott. That's what it sounds like to me, because he's like, or Dwight Schrute even, like he's being a meninist. He hates feminism. He's oppressed. He's a white man who's just oppressed by all of these women who don't want him. And I'm ready to see John Krasinski in that light. I'm really honestly so happy it's a comedy. I would not have been super excited to see him in, say, Othello. That would not have intrigued me. I wouldn't have felt so much like I wanted to see it. But now, since I know it's going to be a hoot and a holler, I'm there. I'm really excited. So it's going to be a limited engagement from May 23rd to August 3rd. Gives you the whole summer to go and see it. I am ready. I am sat. It's going to be playing at the Studio Seaview, which is basically in Times Square. But it's kind of like this is an interesting choice for John Krasinski to come back to Off-Broadway. He was in an Off-Broadway show back in 2016. But this is unique. Like, this is very interesting. It's not an obvious choice for him. And for those reasons, I think it's going to be a slay. Our next news story, I want to go through the notable Lucille Lortel nominations because I'm really happy about a lot of them. So if you're not familiar with the Lucille Lortels, I was not either 2 years ago. It is the awards for off-Broadway shows. So we're going to see a lot of our favorites. Drag was one of the top nominated off-Broadway shows this year, as was the Big Gay Jamboree, like one of my absolute favorite shows that I wish I saw many more times than just once. I'm so obsessed with it. I don't know if we ever got a cast album for that, but I definitely haven't been listening to it if there is one. Let me look it up, because then I could just live vicariously through that. Did y'all see the Big Gay Jamboree? OMG. Oh, no. Do we have a cast album? I don't think that we do. I don't see one on my Spotify. Some crazy things coming up when you type in the Big Gay Jamboree on Spotify. Let me tell you that. Okay, so let's talk about the nominations. For Outstanding Musical, both Drag and the Big Gay Jamboree was nominated, in addition to Medea, which I hadn't heard of, Three Houses, also hadn't heard of, and We Live in Cairo. Between Drag and Big Gay Jamboree, I honestly liked Big Gay Jamboree more. I thought it was more funny. They were very different, which might surprise you, but they were so different. But I would be so happy if it went to Drag. I would be so elated if it went to either of them. But personally, I did enjoy Big Gay Jamboree a little bit more. I thought it was really, really clever, hysterical, just incredibly different than anything I had seen before. It had shock value. It had surprises, unexpected moments. I really loved it. Outstanding Choreography, Big Gay Jamboree and Drag were both nominated. Between that, I don't know which I would give that to. I think I would say Big Gay Jamboree as well. I just remember them having a lot more big ensemble numbers, and I just remember the choreography being a bigger part of Big Gay Jamboree. Oh, this is interesting. For Outstanding Lead Performer in a Play, Adam Driver was nominated for Hold On to Me, Darling, which I never saw, and I honestly didn't hear much about, but their acting categories are non-gendered. So Carrie Young is also in the category for Table 17. For Outstanding Performer in a Play, I want to note that, Outstanding Featured Performer in a Play, Julia Lester from Allnighter was nominated. I desperately wish that Havana Rose Leo was nominated as well. But Julia Lester, she provided a ton of comedic relief. She delivered her lines so confidently. I loved her character. She made it her own. And boy, oh boy, was she fabulous. So I'm not surprised that she was nominated, but I wish there were more nominations for Allnighter in this category. For outstanding lead performer in a musical, we have Marla Menzel, who was the creator and lead actress of The Big Gay Jamboree. We also have Lauren Patton, who's a friend of the pod from The Lonely Few, and Alaska Thunder from Drag the Musical. Now, between all of them, I would probably give it to Alaska. I just think that her performance stood out the most between all of those. Marla Menzel, I think a lot of the other characters shined a bit more than her, I'd have to say. Next category, we have outstanding featured performer in a musical. I love this category. Lots of heavy hitters here. We have Juju B from Drag the Musical and Eddie Corbick from Drag. He's the one who played like the older drunk guy who left his fortune. This nomination, these two from Drag, they honestly surprised me. Don't come for me, drag community, please. Jujubee was amazing. But my personal favorites were Laguna Blue. She was everything. She was like the Latina drag queen. And Eric Laughlin, the one who played Puss Puss Dubois, I loved him as well. Like, I just feel like Jujubee didn't stand out as much as them. I'm sorry. I feel so bad saying that because I only saw it the one time. But that is my opinion. I'm also surprised that Nick Adams wasn't nominated because he was really, really good. But I would say Alaska outshined literally everybody. She was so good. But also Paris Nix from The Big Gay Jamboree is nominated in this category. He was Clarence, who was Marla Menzel's like love interest and crush in the Big Gay Jamboree world. And then we also have Helen J. Shin was nominated for The Lonely Few. Big year for her. And Natalie Walker from The Big Gay Jamboree, who was Flora, the sister who was like the dominatrix. Anyways, in this category, it's really, really hard. But since they didn't nominate Laguna Blue or Eric Laughlin, I feel like it should go to Paris Nix from The Big Gay Jamboree. He was really, really good. I feel like he's probably the best here. That's who I would give the award to. So yeah, that's our Lucille Lortel nominations. I love getting nominations. It's so fun. Award season is upon us, people. It's going to come up so fast and I cannot wait to take it all on. Well, folks, I got to head over to Smash. I'm so lit to finally be seeing that. I'm ready to see what it's all about. Everybody's been talking about it. It's been a huge conversation everywhere I go. And I'm ready to just finally see it for myself. See Robin Herder shine. Let me be your star. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of From the Mezzanine. If you're looking for more From the Mezzanine, join me over on the Patreon. Become a Broadway bestie. Make it official. We have so much fun over there. I record a special extra bonus episode every single week. It is called Meet Me at the Stage Door. Let me tell you a little bit what it's about. So the reason it's called Meet Me at the Stage Door is because after you see a show with your friends, you meet at the stage door. You're standing there, you're with your playbills, you're waiting for the people to come out. You're like, so what'd you think? Did you like this? Oh my God, I loved that. What about the choreography? Yes, they were the queen. You know, like that's the vibe of Meet Me at the Stage Door. It's where we kick back, we have a more casual convo. Sometimes I tell y'all what I really think about a show if I'm not really able to let it rip on the pod. If I have a lot more to say, that's just a little too far, perhaps, you know. That's where it goes. I dish it all on the Meet Me at the Stage Door. I also have special segments every single week. I do my Broadway boyfriend of the week, which I do have somebody in mind. Somebody special. And I have a segment called What Song I'm Adding to My Broadway Playlist this week. This one, it's a little unexpected. And I've also lately been doing the Broadway brackets from Broadway World over on the Meet Me at the Stage Door. And that's been really fun as well. So that is $5.99 a month. You can go to patreon.com/fromthemezzanine to become a Broadway bestie today. Now, if you're not ready for that level of commitment, I understand. It's too serious. It's too fast. That's okay. But what you could do instead of that is just as valuable to me and to the future success of From the Mezzanine is to leave me a review. It's super easy. On Spotify, it is as simple as just clicking the star and tapping 5 stars. You don't have to write anything, honey. You could write something if you wanted to in the show notes, like in the episode, but Spotify doesn't even ask you to write anything. It's just a quick little click. So please leave me a review wherever you are listening. On Apple, because I know a lot of my listeners are over there on Apple, you just go to my page, scroll down a little bit, and you do have to write a little something, but you could just put like, I'm seeing Smash next week. I'm so excited. Like, you don't even have to get all sentimental, all crazy. I know a lot of people love to write a long paragraph. Not necessary, honey. Leave me the 5-star. Tell me that I looked nice. Tell me that you like From the Mezzanine. Or however you truly feel. You know, dish it. I can take it. Tell me how to improve. I'm strong. I won't take it to heart if you don't like me. Anyways, leave me a review. Seriously, though. Please, Broadway besties, y'all are the best. Thank you so much. And I will see you next Tuesday. Bye!